Welcome back to Apax Empowered. I'm your host, Rudolph from House of Apax, and today we are joined by Roydon Macrae from Rest Easy. We unpack the exciting Airbnb market in Cape Town, looking at the current economic climate, investor returns, buyer nationalities, and how new developments and the interior design are shaping the future of short-term rentals along the Atlantic Seaboard. Roydon, okay, so we are sitting here in one of your properties that you've listed, one of the properties that we worked on, and I'm very fortunate to have done that with you, with a couple of your investors. So today's conversation will just be around the investors, who they are, what is happening in the Cape Town Airbnb market at the moment, and also where it's heading.
Absolutely.
And then I would also like to share a bit of tips with some of our listeners as well, if you don't mind doing that for us.
No, absolutely. Look, I mean, this is one of the properties that we insisted on you working on, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy that it's featured in the magazine, and I'm excited.
It's a great achievement, and we really want to add that bit of value to your investors as well, so their properties are performing much better.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's start with what's happening on the ground in Cape Town at the moment. How many Airbnbs do we have running? Which areas are the most popular, firstly? And how are they performing?
So let's start with how many. So there's been a lot of numbers thrown around over the past year, 2 years, that we have got 30,000 or whatever in Cape Town, and it's triple the amount of Barcelona and everything else. There's a lot of numbers thrown around, but Airbnb has kind of hit back with that and said, look, the numbers, while the numbers are remotely true, it's not entirely true, the actual facts around those numbers are very different to what's been advertised. So what you have is a lot of dormant listings, you have a lot of properties that are listed so that the people that live there can go away. So for example, a lot of people, especially in Atlantic Seaboard, will rent out their 4-bedroom house so that they can go to Greece, and the one stay will pay for their trip to Greece. And that's how they economically pay for it. For the rest of the year, it sits empty. So those numbers are largely inflated because of those things. So Airbnb reckons that it's about 40% of the actual number that's actually every day booked on Airbnb. But yes, a lot of that, the most profitable areas, without a doubt, Atlantic Seaboard. So De Waterkant, where we are now, all the way through to Camps Bay and Hout Bay.
And what are the occupancy rates for these properties in the Atlantic Seaboard?
So throughout the year, you're probably looking at about a 70-75% occupancy, like average, throughout the year.
So that's an important thing to note, is that you should work on your averages rather than just high peak season.
Absolutely. I mean, in peak season, I can inflate my numbers in 2 seconds. In peak season, we have a 95% occupancy, and we make 500,000 rand a month. That I can win anybody over with those numbers.
Yes.
But the reality is that the numbers are not that. It's a consistency that we look for and the consistency that we strive for.
So how do you approach your investors with those numbers? How do you work out?
So we try to be conservative with our numbers. So we do projections and stuff like that for people. So we looked at this property as we were presented with it, which is not nearly as nice as it is now.
This came straight from the developer.
Exactly. So it came straight from the developer. It doesn't look anything like this. It was very plain and kind of didn't stand out at all. And when you have a property that doesn't stand out at all in a property with in a building with 40 to 60 apartments, it's very difficult to stand out. So we got it like that. We projected with it as it is, and then we were lucky enough that the owner was interested in working with you, which always we find, and I might be skipping ahead here, but we always find that when you work on a property, you can expect about 20 to 40% increase in rates.
Oh, that's amazing.
I mean, it's like what you do to a property, you make it stand out, and you've got funky wallpapers, and you've got different touches that tie the property together and make it feel more inclusive, more together.
Yes.
As opposed to another property with blank walls or maybe a few artworks here and there, nothing special. It takes a property from a place that you want to sleep and just get out as much as possible to a place that you want to visit and you want to spend the time, and you don't mind having coffee or breakfast inside and then going from there. It's an experience more than just a place to put
That's
your
exactly the word I wanted to mention to you, is that we are focusing on the experience.
Absolutely.
The experience not only for the investor of the property that has to go through the design process, but also the experience of the guest.
Absolutely.
That is the most important thing for us, to leave a memorable experience or a feeling after they leave the apartment.
Absolutely. So, funny enough, I was at a scale conference yesterday, and we had there was a lot of people talking. It's a short-term rental conference, and we had a lot of people coming in from overseas to do that, and they said the money's in the niches. So the riches are in the niches is the exact phrase. Yeah. And instead of going, here's a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms that, there's 100 of them within a 500-meter radius that you can throw a rock at and stay there. This is an experience. It's something different. It's an Instagram moment. You can stand anywhere in this property and you are, you can see that you're in something very different, and this becomes a destination. Where did you stay? I want to stay there because it was on Instagram, because it's in the magazines and stuff like that. So we shoot for those kinds of properties, and that's why I think that we've got a really great partnership, is because it's not, cool, let me put this table in.
Yes.
It's like, what table is going to make the space feel more inclusive? What's going to make it work? And yeah, that's why we really enjoy working with you.
And what has the feedback been from the investors to you after working with us?
It's good. I mean, the thing is that sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes it's a little bit difficult, because either you have somebody that has never touched Airbnb before, they come with you and they make the really good decision to invest in their property, so they don't know any better. And those properties do so well that they're like, oh, this is, and you have what's it called? It's confirmation bias, where they go, oh, look, Airbnb is the best thing ever, and that property would do well regardless. And when they have their second property and they give it to their mother, for example, it can sometimes not do as well. And unfortunately, that's the reality, and they can see that and then they revert back. And that's something that I can very much see the difference. I mean, we've got properties that are so Fairmont, for example, is one of them. We've got properties that are, there's one on the 6th floor, and then there's one on the 7th floor, and one on the 8th floor. And the 8th floor one technically should do better. It's quite a bit higher.
Yes.
But the one that you touched, which is on the 6th floor, is doing about 2,000 Rand a night more than that property, simply because the owners decided to invest into it.
Yes.
And they've made that money back in spades because of it. They've gone, they've seen it as a direct comparison.
And it's also because they trusted the process. They trusted us with making the decisions, bringing the options to them, and giving us a go-ahead, and
absolutely,
the results speak for themselves.
Absolutely. And I mean, you can see your touches. It's not just, so the thing is, you get decorators and you get interior designers.
Yes.
And I think that the one Fairmont property, I mean, just thinking about it, it stands out to me in that way, because most people would leave the lighting as is, and they would not touch the floors, and they wouldn't touch the shower. And yes, it's a bit more expensive to do it this way.
Do those upgrades.
Yes. when it may not seem like the lighting works, so nothing's wrong. But that lighting change has resulted in being an iconic property. It's resulted in people going, I want that one, over the 6 properties above it.
Correct. It makes it recognizable.
Absolutely. And you find with that, with it being experienced, with it being recognizable, and with it being something that is so profoundly thought about, it's been, a lot of thought has gone into it, that people choose it, they will spend more money to stay here than to stay in literally the next door property that is going for maybe 1,000 to 2,000 Rand less. It's an actual figure that we do, and we see we've got higher occupancy, we've got higher rates, and you can see it compared to the exact same property 1 floor higher.
That is incredible feedback. Thank you so much for that. And what I really enjoy about your process as well is your honest feedback from your guests on all the reviews that you are sharing, Google. It's amazing to read the experience that they are also getting from you as an Airbnb host company for the rest of their stay.
Sure. I mean, that's one of the things that we've focused on. So we've focused on quality over quantity. It's a stat that I worked out the other day. It's a little bit daunting. We've turned down more properties than we have, and we've got 90 properties. So we've turned down way more than that because it didn't fit with our portfolio. And the reason for that is we spend a lot of time and energy on our properties. So we do in-person check-ins, we do in-person check-outs. We've got our own maintenance team, so if there's a problem, it's not cool, I'll see you on Monday. We're there
Sort it out
within
now.
15, 20 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, if you look at any of our past, like the last 30 days, because it's winter and we aren't as busy, you start to see a little bit more people appreciating that a little bit more. People mentioning how we're there within 30 minutes. There's always problems. So the thing is, the way we look at it is property management. Property managers, properties are problem childs. They can be if you're not on top of it. It's the way that you handle that.
Yes.
So if there's something goes wrong, we're there within 15, 20 minutes. We have a maintenance person on a motorcycle because that's the fastest way around Atlantic Seaboard.
Correct.
And they're there. They're there to fix it because that's what our promise is.
But this is also where interior design sort of slides in, because if you are sitting with a property that is low or designed for low maintenance and the materiality has been thought of in that property, your maintenance is going to be much less.
Absolutely.
The work is going to be much easier on your side as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a small fix versus a permanent fix, and that's what we found a lot with you, and a lot of the stuff that we looked at. I mean, I still remember the first property that you took from us. It was purchased.
Which was also in a magazine, by the way.
Yes, yeah,
and on TV.
Yeah, no, it's one of our favorite properties. But
Yes.
I remember walking into that property. The owner had bought it, and they said, "Look, go and get the keys. Go and have a look at it." And I saw photos, and the photos are obviously very flattering. And I walked in, and I was shocked. I was like, I remember phoning you because you were in talks with her.
Yes.
And I said,
but I also haven't seen it yet. Oh, is this now after you walked in, after it was done?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
before
the first.
Before.
Okay.
So I mean, I phoned you and I said, really, I don't know that I can take this property.
Yeah.
Like genuinely, and it's not something that I'm like. It's not that I'm too good for this property. No, it was not in a good shape. And I phoned you and I said, really, I don't know if I can take this property unless you do something great with it, because it's like it was run down. There was a lot of like duck egg everywhere, and there was a lot of like the floors were damaged and stuff like that. And the way that you took care of it, it's now like a flagship. I mean, like you said, it's been featured in a magazine.
Yes.
Because it is one of those properties. It's so incredible. Now it's grandiose, and it didn't, like I thought that the work that needed to be done was going to add a couple of $100,000 to it.
Yes.
It was 50,000 rand
Yes,
more, if that. Even.
Yes.
And the thing is that those small touches, like the whole ceiling was white, and just by adding, painting the roof trusses black,
Correct, yes.
it created so much depth into that property that it made it what it is today. And what it is today is a really good investment property that is making the owners live overseas. It's making their money that they never have to send money here. They upgrade the property almost every year, just like little things here and there, and they're happy.
That brings me back to who owns the properties. You said that you're managing over 90 properties.
Yeah.
What is the majority nationalities of
your
owners?
So this is quite a big point of contention in the anti-Airbnb space, that foreigners own everything. Reality is about 85% of our properties are owned by South Africans. It's local people that were able to have a second or a third property and invested in the market. They invested in properties like that. And that's our market. That's our demographic. We have got foreigners. There's foreigners that own. And that's great. I mean, it should be open to everybody. Everybody should have an opportunity. But yeah, I mean, most of our property owners are South African.
And what I found so fascinating as well is that a lot of your owners or your clients own more than 2 or 3 properties with you.
Yeah, it starts with one. So most of them have started with one. They've done so well that they then reinvested and reinvested and reinvested. I mean, you've dealt with a lot of those where they maybe didn't start with you, but they came to you,
Yes.
and another one's coming soon.
Exactly, and they sort of stick with the
absolutely, because the thing is that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It literally they invest the money into it, and there's obviously a bond, and they've taken loans, and it's a business for them, and they've put the money into the property. And they never have to pay that bond because the money from the rentals is paying that bond, which in this area is unheard of. I mean, I started in real estate as a rental agent. That was my first thing in property, second thing in property. And you had properties that were bought for 6 million rand and were being rented out for 25,000 rand. And that was the norm. You had to pay into your bond, you had to pay into your levies, you had to do that. That was part of owning at Atlantic Seaboard. You were there for the capital growth.
Yes.
But now with short-term letting and proper short-term letting, it
your
pays
return
for
on
itself.
investment.
Absolutely. So you've got that recurring income, but then also you have got that capital growth. That's why I recommend Atlantic Seaboard, because the capital growth on any property in Atlantic Seaboard has been north of 10%.
Okay, so let's get back to the question about what kind of property the investor should be looking at. Is it sectional title? Is it 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms? Which one is performing better?
So again, I think that it goes to different portfolios.
Yes.
If you can only afford a 1 bedroom, then 1 bedroom is the better option. I generally tend to advise my clients against going for micro studio, like small 1 bedrooms in between buildings, that kind of thing, because it's oversaturated. It's getting to that point now because there's so many buildings going up. They're all kind of run by the same company, and because of that, they have to get occupancy, so they'll push down the rate so much, and there's no differentiating factor in any of those properties. It's run like a hotel, kind of fit in, or
Yes.
So I generally ask my clients to avoid that kind of thing. The only way that I can say this, the only way I can advise without seeing the property, is to say, look for something special. Look for something different. Look for something that other properties in the same building don't have. So if you're going to buy a 1 bedroom, fair enough, buy one on the top floor with a sea view or with a view of any kind. If you're going to buy a 1 bedroom, make sure that it's slightly bigger than the average, because the average of a 1 bedroom in the past 6 years has gone from a 52 square meter 1 bedroom all the way down to like a 25 square meter 1 bedroom.
Crazy.
So if you're buying a 25 square meter 1 bedroom in a building with 25 square meter 1 bedrooms, you're going to be one of 100. And with all due respect to interior design, you can add something to it, but it's a place to put your head. It's always going to be a place to put your head. But if you buy something special, if you buy something that people, that other than the interior design, other than the location, that people choose your property for, that's when the difference comes. So 1 bedrooms are great. They're generally very well occupied because it's at a lower price point. 2 bedrooms, even better, because they are becoming a little bit more scarce in the new development space.
Of course, yes.
3 bedrooms, I really love 3 bedrooms because they are even more scarce. So it becomes kind of like, take a 3 bedroom, make it look really beautiful and stand out, and then you'll have something really, really special. House versus apartment, house versus sectional title, it really depends on your budget. Not necessarily for purchase price, but also for maintenance. Because with sectional title, you pay into a levy scheme, and the levies cover the maintenance to the common space and the outside. And most of that, so all new developments will have a pump, a hot water pump, so you don't have a geyser. They'll have different things that they can touch on and that you don't have to worry about. You worry about the internal maintenance of your property, which we take care of for you. A house is very different. There's gardening. We have to now take out the trash on any given day. There's a pool most of the time. There's the outdoor of the house is starting to look a little bit shabby. Are we going to? Which is also a really cool opportunity, because then you can paint it black or pink or something like that. Please don't paint your house pink. But you can paint it something special, and you can do something really cool with it. But it's at your cost.
Yes.
And so by all means, if you have the discipline to be able to go, cool, I'm going to take 10% of my earnings, put it into a maintenance fund, and that way I can maintain the property going forward, fantastic, because that's what levies do. But you have to have that kind of backing, because something could happen, month 2 of you buying, that something goes wrong, and then that's on you. It's on nobody else. Nobody else is contributing to your fund. So a house can be trickier, but it really depends on your thing, on your, the security comes into it as well. But it really depends on your budget and what you're looking for.
I think about what you're looking for in your investment goals.
Absolutely.
So you need to have that strategy set out beforehand.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where dealing with the property agent also comes in, dealing with you before you buy the property comes in, dealing with the interior designer before you buy the property as well, so you can work out, more or less what your monthly expenses will be.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's a very key point that a lot of people tend to miss. Every now and then I'll deal with somebody after they have purchased, and not that I don't agree with the purchase or anything, but if they had spoken to me, it would have ended up better for them.
Yes.
I've got a perfect example for that. Is a client was speaking to me about, came through an agent, and an agent had referred them to us. They were looking at buying a property in one of my favorite buildings, and I said, look, great purchase. It'll always do well. It's a great location, great everything. It's a reasonable price. Happy days. And he was super happy. He asked me 100 questions before doing it. I love questions because it's a very simple way to see how people think, and it's a great way to get your answers across. And then he went quiet for 3 months, and I was like, oh, maybe he bought, maybe he didn't buy, maybe he went to another agency. It is what it is. I give information without expecting the property, and then he phoned me and he said, oh, I bought a property, can't wait for you to see it. I think it's much better than the one that I originally spoke to you about. It's in X building. And I went quiet, and I was like, oh. And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, well, they don't do short-term lets in that building. And he's like, no, they said that they do. I was like, yeah, it's a 30-day minimum, which is so restricting. I mean, most properties are 2-night minimum. Now you're taking a property to 30-night minimum. You're eliminating 70% of your audience in the first go. And this guy just made that, he didn't ask any questions on this property, he just purchased it. And he went quiet on the other end of the phone, and he said, no, but I thought it was, and everything. Moral of the story, ask questions. Speak to someone like me. If it's not me, it's fine. Like if you've got somebody in the market, do it. But, and that's another point to focus on is your uncle might be a real estate agent, but he might have sold 2 properties in the past 2 years. Speak to a professional in this. Speak to a professional interior designer that's doing this every single day, that knows how to measure, that knows what fits each room. Speak to a professional short-term rental host that has multiple properties, that can pull information from other properties and be able to help you make a decision better. And speak to a proper rental agent as well, a sales agent as well, to say, like, is this the right choice? Well, it's a little bit older building.
What are the stats in the building? And
exactly.
Et cetera.
Professionals, especially when you're talking about this space, Atlantic Seaboard, professionals is a non-negotiable. You don't want to be caught with your pants down, which a lot of people have, because either their agent lied to you, or their agent has sold what's in front of you because they just want to get rid of it. And you're the one that sits with a property that you can't sell, can't rent, and is now become a liability.
Look, if we had to go back to the 30-day minimum, I think there is an opportunity on the other side of the coin as well, because you're sitting with the digital nomads coming to Cape Town as well, and they get their minimum visa stay for 3 months. Would you say in that respect it can be overlooked?
Look, a 30-day minimum is not a death sentence by any means. But the reason that I'm hesitant about a 30-day minimum is because you're eliminating such a wide variety. Digital nomads, depending on who they are and what they do, digital nomads generally try and go for the cheaper possible rates.
Okay.
And if your property is set for the higher end, it can do well, but it can also suffer. Actually, perfect example for you is we had 2 in that building, 2 1-beds in that building. One is designed properly by an interior designer, Valence Furniture. They really spent the money to make it what it is. And that property prints money. In off-season, because that's the only time we have it, the owner comes and stays for the season. It prints money. It's just always booked because of the amenities in the building, and that's the benefit of that building. Correct. Is it's got 2 pools, a dog park. It's got all these different factors in it, which is a beautiful aesthetic offering exactly. Yes. And it's a perfect location. But the other apartment where the guy didn't spend any money on it, it sat empty for most of the time. So again, I think it depends on your demographic. It depends on what your offering is.
Well, now that we're on that point, what are the pro tips from you to the investors? What should they look at?
So for me, it's something different. You want something different. You want something interesting. You want something
that stands out
exactly
on the platforms.
Again, it's something that nobody else has. So right now, a lot of new developments only come with a mountain view. So if you can find a 10-year-old property with a sea facing, you're already one step higher. Find out the stats in the building. One of the biggest cautionary tips that I can give is don't be the only Airbnb in the block, because we've seen a lot of blocks turn against Airbnb because they don't like people coming in or something like that, which is everybody's right to their opinion, but it's not fair to hurt somebody else's budget. Hurt somebody else's business by doing so. Anyway, something different, something beautiful. If you're going to buy something, my recommendation is always to buy a modern apartment. A lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, I can buy an old building and an old apartment, and I'll renovate it and I'll make it look fancy." It doesn't matter. So we've found that older buildings do not do well compared to newer buildings, even if the internal is renovated quite significantly.
Because it's not just about the apartment itself, it's about the public space around it and the communal space.
Exactly, but it's not just that. So it's public and communal spaces that play a huge role. But then it also comes down to your neighbors. So if your neighbors haven't spent any money on it, generally they're letting it to a different kind of tenant. Sometimes the building is up and coming, which is amazing, but now you've got drilling noise for 12 months out of the year.
Correct. Which will disturb your guests.
Exactly, and then now you 30-40% lower on rates because you can't do it. But a lot of the time people will see the outside of the building and immediately decide that building is not worth staying in because nobody wants to stay with grandma. They want to stay in a hotel-like setting.
Correct.
And this is what we develop.
Yes.
This is what we do. We do modern apartments that you're happy to spend time in. The toilet's just been installed, so it's not going to break.
Correct.
That the light bulb is not going to fall out because it was installed 80 years ago.
Or a geyser burst is on its way.
Exactly. So the chances of maintenance have been reduced so significantly, and it's a perception thing. It's, people have that perception of older buildings. Even if you have just gut renovated to the concrete and build it up, you're going to experience that pushback.
Yeah. They can see everything.
Absolutely.
One more question for the investor. They are obviously also worried about who you are going to let into their apartments.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, and how do you make sure that the apartment is looked after?
So, first of all, guest vetting. It's one of the things that we promise. It's our biggest thing as well. We vet guests. We have a look. If we're not sure about who you are and why you're coming, if you've got if you've got your own ideas about there for a party or whatever, we need to know that beforehand. So we send a list of house rules that can look quite daunting.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, if somebody is there for nefarious reasons, they'll just go, "No, too many rules, I'm out." And that's fine. It's perfect. It's done its job. We don't accept anybody with a 4.5 or lower, or we don't accept anybody lower than a 4.5 star rating, and we take their reviews into account. We do a lot of vetting like that beforehand. But then it's not just about the vetting, it's about what happens afterwards. If somebody breaks the rules, so in this property we have a minute sensor. So if somebody's smoking, shouting, having a party, if there's too many people in here, we get alerts on it. and it works on a decibel, so it doesn't record anything, it works on a decibel meter. So if it goes to like 85, 90 decibels, I get an alert on my phone. And if it continues for a certain period of time, we then contact the guests and say, listen, we've got complaints, we've got problems, and then we sort that out. And the thing is that it's not just before the guests arrive, it's while the guests are here. If they are there for the wrong reasons, we remove them. We literally, I've done it before, I'll do it again. At 12 o'clock at night, we remove guests. You have to be willing to do that in order to ensure the quality of the property. Because number one, people have entrusted us with the quality of their property. So that doesn't do this at the end of the day.
Not just them, also the building.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So we have to maintain every aspect of that. So we really do take guest vetting quite seriously. And then the second question that you had, which was?
How do you manage that? But you said you will kick them out.
We kick them out. But the maintaining the quality of the property also comes down to being proactive.
Yes.
You can't just be reactive. You can't fix something when it's broken. You can't replace a door when you've got to do it as and when. So we do something called preventative maintenance, where we send our maintenance team. So it's our team that works for us. We send them to all of our properties once a month. They clean out the drains. They tighten all the hinges. They pay attention to small little details.
I can vouch for that. I've seen them in action, and they do a magnificent job.
Thank you. We've got such an amazing team in that aspect. We've got an amazing team all over, but our maintenance guys, they take care of it so that no guest has a blocked drain, so that no guest is going, why is this table like this? They really are proactive.
What is the smell?
Exactly. So that's something we focus on, because it comes down to the guest experience. It's the same reason. So it's we don't invest in one area and lack in another. So we do welcome baskets where there's snacks and things like that, and we also do coffee, tea, milk, sugar, and we do all of these things because we want the guest to have a great experience.
Yes. From the moment they arrive.
Exactly. And if they do that and then all of a sudden the drain's blocked, or there's a funny smell, or their bed's broken, it's not gonna be acceptable. They're gonna be unhappy, no matter how much you spent on the basket.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I love working with you as well, because I know whatever I'm handing over to you is going to be well looked after, and that the clients are going to be happy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Roydon. You really are an inspiration with your business, and the whole team behind you as well. I really love working with them, and it's good to see you, and wish you all the best with your business.
Oh, thank you so much. We love working with you as well, and we get compliments from all the team.
Awesome. Great
Awesome.
stuff. Thank you.